Wonder if you can hear the rain. Damn this rainy season. So another video about disc brakes. I always kind of feel hesitant to do these videos about the meat slicers because every time without fail the rim brake defense force comes out, and in turn that brings out the disc brake death squad. And when those two groups meet, it always ends in pointless arguments and generally just bad vibes down in the comments. Can't we all just get along? It doesn't matter what kind of brakes you have or what bike you have. As long as you have a bike and can ride, that's the best bike you can have. Well, apart from mine, which is better than all of them. But with that said though, disc brakes definitely still has its issues. There's no denying that. But thanks to a few comments that I got on my Extralite videos, I'm going to try to address one of those issues in this video. And that is the disc rotor alignment problem that you can get when hopping from one wheel set to another on the same bike, especially when you have different wheel sets and different disc rotors. So my general recommendations is always, if you're going to have multiple wheel sets for one bike, always try to get the same hubs and the same disc rotors. That way you don't need to faff about when switching wheels. You don't need to adjust anything. Everything will align nice and smoothly. My old DT Swiss rolled wheels and my new 650B gravel wheels both have that 240S hub and the Shimano Dura Ace disc rotors, and when swapping between those two wheel sets I don't have to do a single thing. Everything like slots in perfectly, alignment spot on, nothing need adjusting, so it's basically even simpler than a rim brake wheel swap. Dare I say it. Of course, I proceeded to ignore my own recommendations when I got the Extralite wheels, which not only has different hubs, they also only take 6 bolt rotors, so I had to get totally different rotors as well, and that means I need to adjust my calipers every time I swap wheels, and it's to be honest, it's quite a bit of pain in the ass. So the tip I got from you guys in the comments was this. These are the 6 Bolt Shims, so hopefully with the help of these I will be able to match up my 6 bolt rotors with my Dura Ace rotors on the other wheels, and that way I don't need to faff about every time I want to swap wheels. So let's see if we can sort this out. Just to clarify where the issue lies, here I have my brake adjusted for my Extralite wheels, and as you can see, no problem, smooth sailing. As I swap over to my DT Swiss 650B gravel wheels, it ends up looking like this. And as you might be able to see, to get both discs to align the same in the caliper, the 6 bolt disc needs to be moved outward to match my Dura Ace rotor that you can see here. Since I can't move the disc inwards, for me shimming the 6 bolt rotors is my only option. There is shims for central locks as well, if the alignment would have been the other way around. So let's take a closer look on these shims. They are made by Syntace, I have no idea how you pronounce this, but yeah, as you can see on the screen, this brand. And they come in a pack with 8 shims. They are supposed to be 0.2 millimeters thick, but according to my calipers, they came in at 0.22. I wouldn't bet my life on the accuracy of this caliper though. When I put 5 of them together, I end up at 1.02 millimeters, so closer to the advertised 0.2 per shim, I guess. Anyway, the much more burning question here is of course the weight. My brilliant kitchen scale only does whole grams, and as you can see, 1 shim seems to be just under 1 gram. Adding 1 shim at a time, you can see the weight slowly increasing, and up to 6 shims tips my scale just to 5 grams. This will be hard to justify, I know, but what the hell. Now I know it's not hard to figure out how to install these, so I will try not to drag this out unnecessarily. I'm sure some smart people out there can probably figure out mathematically exactly how many shims one would need just by measuring the hubs. But I'm not one of those people, so I simply tried to see how many shims I could fit in the gap between my center lock rotor and the inside of the brake pad to get a starting point. And I ended up with 4 shims. Since the center lock rotor won't be shimmed in my case, that will be the baseline and I need to adjust my caliper for this wheel set. The simple trick of loosening the caliper bolts, squeezing the brake and tightening the bolts again, it's a simple way to do this that work most of the time, but I actually picked up this disc alignment tool from Gorix. I guess you pronounce it. It's something like $9 on Amazon Japan. I simply slide this over the rotor in between the brake pads, do the same squeeze and tighten the bolts on the caliper, and I found that the hit rate of this working is a lot higher. Pretty much 9 out of 10 times they end up spot on. Totally not necessary. I've done a video in the past where I did the same job with the packaging from a new set of brake pads, and that works too. This just speeds up the process a lot. I couldn't find this particular tool on Amazon US, but Nochalant Garage tipped me off about this mini version that can be found on eBay dirt cheap. It's small enough to go in my bike wallet and also works as a disc brake spacer when I need to remove the wheel and transport the bike on a train. So it's pretty nifty little thing. But enough of that. Jesus, I'm bad at not dragging this out. Sorry. Installing the shims is just as straightforward as you would imagine. Off with the rotor, put the shims on the inside of the rotor and put the rotor back on. I said my starting point was 4 shims, in the end though I needed to use 5, so there can be a bit of a trial and error. And yes, when messing around with disc rotors and brake pads, you should wear gloves, but yeah, I like living on the edge. If you're shimming center lock rotors, I read somewhere that they don't recommend you use more than 4 shims because of the center lock's shallower thread length, so I thought I'd pass that warning along. I haven't done it myself though, so can't say more than that. Another mini tip I got from a viewer was when tightening the bolts on the 6-bolt rotors, make sure you twist the rotor against the rotational direction. That way you can be sure that the rotor won't shift under braking. I love getting these tips from you brilliant people, so cheers for that. So trying this out, I was honestly holding my breath here, hoping it would work. My front rotor is slightly out of true. It's not enough to rub or needing to be trued, but it makes it even more sensitive to misalignment. In the end though, it worked out perfectly. And swapping back to my gravel wheel here. Smooth sailing. Now, if you're one of those smart people that are good with numbers, you might have realized I only have 3 shims left for the rear wheel, so I need to order another pack to address that. So definitely something to think about. If you know you need to shim both rotors more than 1 millimeter, 1 pack of these won't be enough.
Man, this worked out better than I thought it would actually. So, happy days. I realize this is a pretty niche video, but if you found it interesting or helpful, feel free to leave a like. Always appreciated. If you want more crap like this, you can always subscribe. And if you do, I will catch you in the next one. Now I need to go remove these shims because 5 grams over my dead body.